This week on Unconventional Lives, we're pumped to kick off with where our health journey began, Whole30. We're spilling the beans on what it is,
spoiler alert, total game changer,
what it isn't,
it's not your average diet bore,
and how you can nail it with the best shot at success.
So get ready for a wild, unconventional ride to feeling awesome.
Let's dive in.
Hey, I'm Craig.
And I'm Kellie.
Join us as we share unfiltered, empowering conversations about love, marriage, fitness, travel, and living boldly.
Tune in as we prove you can have it all and live an unconventional life.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Unconventional Lives show. I'm Craig.
I'm Kellie.
I think we already covered that in the intro, but it's always nice to hear our names.
Right. Just so we know who we are.
Yeah. And you do too.
Right.
That's important. So, hey, welcome back. We're back.
We're back.
We're doing good.
Back in Colorado, after a nice, well-deserved vacation, well-needed.
I think people are going to watch this show and go like, "This guy took a lot of vacations." But yeah, we just got back from Mexico.
Somewhere warm.
Somewhere warm. Yeah, it seems like that's a thing for us now. We need to go warm.
Yeah, because it's cold here.
It is cold here.
It's cold.
So went, had a great time. Had a week in Mexico.
Week in Mexico.
Just,
perfect weather.
Perfect weather. Sitting by the pool.
Yeah, super fun.
I only gained 7 pounds.
Right, whatever.
But for the record, I've lost it all as well.
Yeah, and you didn't really.
We were really good, but it's hard to be good in Mexico. It really is hard.
I thought we did really well. I thought we were really good, and
the scale would disagree with your assessment.
We have this talk all the time. You always do this the day after we get back. You weigh yourself, and I'm talking. You've got travel weight, water retention, all of that. So I give myself 3 days of grace.
Yeah.
And then that's the number that I'm concerned about. And it was fine.
It was fine. Yeah.
It was fine.
We did good. And
it was fine.
It does come off fast when you get back, it seems like.
It does.
And we try and be good. I think overall
100%.
we're pretty good.
Yes.
But we're not eating our regular diet.
No. And eggs in Mexico they're just different than in America. And that's fine.
And
it's
bacon.
just an acquired taste.
And pastries are different in Mexico.
Different. Well, we don't do pastries in America here. So that's an issue. That's a you, not a me. That's a you thing, not a me thing.
I see you eyeballing my Danish.
Whatever. No way.
I'm a sucker for like the little round ones with the cherry in the center. You bring those to me, I'm going to eat that. I don't care. I don't care.
No, you don't. You absolutely don't.
I am.
Well, you do you, boo.
I'm a Danish hoe. Well, that's why we work so hard the rest of the time.
Yes.
So we can work that off.
These little perks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And one of us did get sick.
Yeah, that would be me this time.
Yeah, that was you this time.
That would be me this time.
I don't know what it is about going to Mexico that gets us sick every time. I don't know if it's the airplane, if it's the airport, if it's just the Mexico, we call it the Cancun crud.
Yeah, the Cancun crud.
We just always seem to pick up a bug whenever we're there.
Right. And as I was, I don't know, it was on social media or something that it came up about some statistic happening right now with influenza A and all the symptoms. Oh, I know, it was a local school district thing. And I was reading the symptoms. I'm like, yep, check, yep, check, yep, check. I'm like, oh, I must have influenza A. Yeah. That confirms. I feel bad. So I'm just going to stay home.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
You bounce back pretty quick.
And I'm,
You kind of lost your voice. And
my voice is
a little hoarse
back.
still.
It's a little hoarse, but it's back. And
it seems like that's
I'm
the
feeling
price
better
you have
every
to
day.
pay if you're going to travel anywhere anymore.
Yes.
What sucks, what worries me the most is when we go to Europe. And I'm always worried because you're on the plane with
an extended amount of time.
Folks and you're tired when you get there. Like when we went to France last summer,
we didn't get sick.
We didn't get sick.
No, we did not. Not that I recall.
We partied pretty hard in France.
Yeah, we did. Just a different type.
We were at a wedding.
Different type party. But it took me this time around. It was a good week. Like we were gone for a good week or so on our vacation. And then I got sick, and I was sick for a good week. And I'm just now getting back in the swing of things. As a matter of fact, we The one thing I did this week, we did together for our workout routine is we did yoga on Saturday. And then I took another rest day on Sunday. And we were back at the gym this morning.
Oh, I know. Yes. My little gym rat. She even said last night, like, boy, I can't wait to go to the gym tomorrow.
I did say that. I was kind of shocked.
I was kind of shocked to hear it come out of your mouth.
Say that.
But
no,
they had
I
a
do miss
very
the
nice,
gym.
they have a very nice gym at the resort we were staying at.
Right. And I kept saying, I think we should go and work out at the
It
gym.
was actually up on like the top floor,
Yeah,
and
like
it had a
fifth
view of
floor.
the ocean. And
Yeah.
yeah, we never made it in there.
No, you poo-pooed that real quickly.
Boo.
So we went back to the gym this morning. I want to say bright and early, but it really wasn't bright and early. You woke me up bright and early, but
were
I was
dragging.
slow moving. So we got to the gym, I think by 7, I think it was. And it was great. We did, was it 7? I think it was 7.
Ish.
And we did a good hour workout. I felt great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm really.
4-mile walk afterwards.
We did a 4-mile walk afterwards. And
We have to because it's supposed to snow tonight.
it is.
A lot. So
Yeah,
so that went
tonight
well.
all the way through tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's why we wanted to get our movement in and our weight resistance training in today because I don't know if we're going to be able to do it tomorrow.
So yep, and my other program we're doing, the Natural Transformer, is going very well.
Yeah,
Their
it's going great.
workouts are kick-ass. Like today was a push day. and
Oh,
it
I
was like,
know. So many push-ups.
I could have just
today.
called it a push-up day.
Oh,
I mean, I think
my word.
it was back to back to back push-ups. And
It was wide push-ups. And then what are those incline shoulder push-up
and then your
things?
what's that one?
Oh, it's
I
the
hate that
tricep bench.
Yeah, that
press.
one's
I
then we
like
did
that one.
abs and so yeah.
Yeah.
We're hardcore that way, people. You know how it is.
No,
So
we're really not.
yeah. So
But
you
yeah,
know,
we got through it. We got through it.
We survived.
Yeah.
Didn't cry or nothing.
No.
No?
Not this time.
Yep. So this episode, we're going to be talking about Whole30. And a lot of people ask us, probably the number one question we get when people see us is like, what did you do? You know, why are you like this? How did you lose 65 pounds?
How did you change so much?
Right. And, you know, you want to say, okay, it was Whole30 or it was fitness or it was, you know, it was a lot of things, but I think, and we were having a really good discussion this morning on our walk, talking about there's really kind of a four-legged, you know, approach.
Yeah,
here.
four
I think
pillars.
That four pillars that we've
to our
really
success.
have had success with. The first
Right.
one, and we're going to say this, and we're going to continue to say this probably till the day we die, which
Yes.
is if your hormones are screwed up, if you haven't got them squared away,
Men and women.
like everything else kind of doesn't work. So we've talked about hormones on multiple shows before. If you are not getting your hormones tested, if you're going to your doctor and they're saying they're fine, find a different doctor, you know, search for
Right.
bioidentical hormones, make
there's
sure they're
many,
bioidentical.
There's so many different symptoms that will point to a hormone imbalance as we age, as we get into our late 30s and start into our 40s. Men and women, our hormones naturally decline, and there are certain symptoms that some people demonstrate and some people don't, but they're general overall symptoms. And if you're having those symptoms, then you need to go get those checked. Don't
Yes.
wait until you're into your late 50s, 60s, or beyond until you
but
realize.
it's never too late.
It's never too late. And
Like, I
that
mean, I
is
was
a great place to start.
55, but 56.
Right.
55, 56 before I finally went, okay, well, you went and got yours and
I was at 47, 47, 48.
got yours squared away. And then I was like, man, I need whatever she's got. I need more of that.
Yeah.
So I need some of that. So I went and got mine done. But
Yeah.
very important. I'm going to say it again. I'll keep saying it. Bioidentical hormones. You may go to your traditional physician and he'll be like, nah, your hormones are fine. What he's saying is your hormones are fine for your age.
No, they're normal.
They're normal for your age. I don't want to be a normal 58-year-old. You know, I want the hormones of a 30-year-old.
Yeah. I want vitality.
I want vitality. So yeah, if you go to your doctor, I can tell you right now, most traditional doctors are just gonna be like, for your age, you're right where you should be, which is probably for a guy, your testosterone is probably 200 to 300.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like I love mine was best between 1,000 and 1,200.
Right.
So, you know, that's where I feel the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, you know, then that's actually most experts say that's a pretty good place to be.
Yeah.
So, you know, your doctor is probably going to tell you you're fine for your age. You know, I don't want to be fine for my age.
But if you don't feel well, if you feel lethargic, if you feel like you've got this muffin top that you can't get rid of, and then you have no energy, and you've got brain fog, and you're moody, and your sex drive is non-existent, et cetera, then say, I don't feel right. This is not okay. I don't care what the numbers say. I'm going to go to somebody else who can read them differently and can listen to what your body is telling you.
Yeah, and it's as simple as just Google bioidentical hormones in the city you live, or if you live in a small town, maybe you know the next big city over, and have you know look for that, and then you know those doctors will gladly take an appointment with you. You can go in, you can meet with them.
They'll work with you.
Yeah, and then also you can you're going to pay out of pocket. It's you're going to have to pay. Insurance doesn't cover it, unfortunately. It's stupid. It doesn't, but it doesn't. And then you're going to pay out of pocket.
But it's not exorbitant. It's
not
really affordable for the benefit that you reap from it.
Yeah. And a lot of like we use the concierge style doctor, but we pay monthly for them. So we have it's their vitality program, and it includes, your pellets when you need them. And I go about every 5 months. You go about every 3 months.
Yep.
And, it's so maybe, the doctor has some sort of program you can get on, and you're going to pay out of pocket, but it's the best money you'll ever spend at this age.
Yes.
So
that's pillar leg number one.
Number one, if your hormones aren't squared away,
start there.
Everything kind of gets wrong. Everything else from this point on is more challenging. Not impossible, but boy, it certainly helps.
Oh yeah.
So number two would be nutrition. So for us on our journey, you had figured out your hormones, got those squared away.
Yes.
I went and got mine squared away. And then really, we weren't looking for any sort of, a diet or anything like that. And a colleague of ours and a great friend approached us and said, hey, we're going to do this thing called Whole30.
I had already, as a caveat, I had already at that time, probably 6 months prior to starting, before we even heard about Whole30, I had 6 months prior already cut out sugar.
Yeah.
And I had gotten through that, and I wasn't eating anything sweet in the evening or anything like that. But then our colleagues, you were definitely having your dark chocolate after dinner.
Or ice cream.
Yes. And so that's when our colleague approached us.
And said, we're going to do this Whole30 thing. You should try it. And I was like, no, I hate diets. I even hate the word diet because I've always failed
negative
at
connotation.
them. And it has horrible negative connotations for me. And I've always failed at it. And so it's like, no, I don't do diets.
Right.
And she fortunately persisted and said, this is not a diet.
Right.
This is just a 30-day cleanse to figure out, to get sort of all the junk out of your system for 30 days and see how you feel. And
it's a reset. It's basically a reset for your body.
It really is.
And it's an elimination diet for 30 days. I hate to say
the word diet.
I know.
It's not a diet.
It's an elimination plan for 30 days to eliminate all of the known inflammatory triggers for your body. So it's basically, it's finding what's going to fuel you and not starve you.
Right. And you know what the thing is, and she was, and I love her, and she used to be an Air Force pilot. She's just an amazing individual. And she said, I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't like diets. And she goes, this is not a diet, and quit being a baby. You can do anything for 30 days. And I'm like,
she did say that.
I'm like, okay.
Right.
Now it's like, she threw down on me. So I'm like, fine, I'll do it.
So we had no idea what Whole30 was.
No.
So we Googled Whole30,
and
what
she
it
had
was.
done it once before.
She had done it once before. And so she had sent us over some resources or whatever. So basically, it's a program. The author, Melissa Urban is her name, who's the co-founder and author of the Whole30. And she has since written so many Whole30 books, new editions, cookbooks, etc. And so we were able to start doing our own research on it and realizing, oh, okay, this is not a diet. It's basically eliminating those things that are inflammatory. So, and it's just for 30 days. So basically for 30 days, you're not supposed to consume any sugars, any added sugars, any animal dairy, any alcohol. You're supposed to just have real food, meat,
grains,
veggies.
is a big one. No grains.
Yeah, no grains. You're supposed to have meat, veggies, nuts, except peanuts. So basically, you can have vegetables, nutrient-dense vegetables, and you can have potatoes on Whole30. You can have as much
and that was huge.
That's a big one. That was a big one.
I had done keto before.
Sure.
And I lost a fair amount of weight. I mean, I got down pretty low, probably in near 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And then I just bounced right back.
Yeah.
There wasn't, it didn't stick. And I was hungry a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like that was the case with the Whole30. So, a lot of times too, though, is where you're at in that journey.
Sure.
I also feel like, I know it was like a broken record, but I mean, it really does matter. Are your hormones squared away? Because
it does.
If your body's not, it's sort of like if your engine's not running correctly.
Yeah.
It's you can
no matter
probably
what fuel you put in it.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird.
It's not gonna run at its peak.
Yeah. So the things you're gonna cut out, like legumes, beans, lentils, peanuts, anything processed foods.
Processed foods,
grains,
a big one.
Grains, a big one. Dairy's a good one. Big one. Alcohol, added sugar. So, anything that has sugar added to it is a big deal. That was, sugar. Sugar's tough.
Sugar is tough. And what this really forces you to do is reading labels is so, so important, because you could have two of the identical food items. Like, for example, I'm going to give dried mango. So that was why.
So at Costco, they had two different types.
Costco, they have two different types of dried mango. And you would think, oh, they're the same. I could just choose whichever one. But if you read the labels, one of those brands adds sugar to the dried mango, which is not good. It's not allowed in this plan. And
it also seems sort of silly because
really
dried
silly.
mango is pretty sweet. Dried mango was kind of a lifesaver for me. It was the Kirkland brand that didn't have any
added
sugar in it, because they call it the sugar dragon. It hits hard about day 7 to day 10.
Sure.
And because like the cravings kick in, you can still have coffee.
Yes, you can have coffee. You just can't have animal dairy in your coffee or added sugars in your coffee. So you can have nut creamers. You can have coconut
honestly
milk.
don't
the nut pods.
Those nut creamers are I equate them to the same as herbal teas.
Yes.
Like I will smell an herbal tea and be
lovely.
like, oh my God, that smells amazing.
Heavenly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you drink it and it's like, it tastes like dishwater. It's like
it's just bland.
Yeah.
It's just bland. So for coffee, you can have caffeine. You just can't have any added sugars or sweeteners or animal dairy. So oat dairy.
We got
you can have coconut milk.
Coconut cream.
It's actually coconut milk. They do have coconut.
It's the one from
canned
Costco.
Coconut milk and canned coconut cream. We get the canned coconut milk from Costco.
Not all coconut creams are the same. Yeah, Thai something. Some of them are like water. They're gross. And some of them are like those. Mud.
You can have those.
Gross.
But for example, like when we'd go to Starbucks at that point in time when we were first starting Whole Foods, I discovered a drink called a flat white, and I just substituted the coconut milk, and it was great. It was still Whole30 compliant, they call it. And
I think your Starbucks employees, when you didn't order your little lemon cake.
Oh, I know.
That's your kryptonite.
Yeah, I don't eat that anymore.
Well,
so anyways, so yeah.
So so the other big thing about Whole30 is, unlike a lot of other diets, like no calorie counting.
Right.
Like there should be no reason you should be hungry. So like if you want to have chicken, if you want to have 2 or 3 pieces of just cooked chicken,
Sure.
not Kentucky Fried Chicken or
No.
something that's
Fried or processed. Like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
But you can have a whole steak, have chicken. We would have steak and a potato, and it was really good.
And their philosophy is eat until you're comfortably full, not comfortably, but comfortably full.
Yeah.
And so what's wonderful is that you don't have to have any tracking mechanism. You're just eating and enjoying food until you're satiated.
Right.
And it's great. If you're hungry during this, you're not doing it correctly. You need to be eating more protein, more food, more
vegetables, fruit.
Yes, more fruit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I never felt hungry. I still to this day, but I mean, I think the things that were the toughest for me was obviously sugar. We talked about that.
Sugar was
the hardest, and I think I've talked about this in other shows before too. There was one thing that I just thought, but I was duped into believing. I really do feel like I was duped into believing that this was a healthy breakfast, which I used to have pretty frequently, 3 or 4 times a week, if not more. I would get good quality rolled oats, Coach's rolled oats, and I would cook them, and then I would add a little bit of milk and a little bit of brown sugar some organic brown sugar and walnuts to, a healthy serving of oatmeal. And I craved oatmeal for a year after we started our health journey here. And it was crazy.
That was a huge dragon for you to overcome.
It was crazy. Like you wouldn't think, but man, then you start doing the research and it's just like, man, it's like eating candy in terms of like what it does to your blood sugar.
It spikes it big time.
And I think that this is probably a good spot to talk about like blood sugar levels, trying to keep that glycemic index fairly flat. And that's really what Whole30, I think at the end of the day, you don't get those spikes, it's like, okay, I'm going to have a cup of coffee. You should flatline on coffee. I'm going to add a bunch of, coffee made creamer, with the vanilla one that tastes amazing, and then you get this giant spike, or, you get, oatmeal was a giant spike in the morning, but then an hour later I would crash and I would be hungry and I'd be craving protein, so it also gives you this reset, gives you the ability to kind of dial into your body and if you're paying attention, I think one of the biggest things when you're paying attention is what sugar does to you. And once you stop once you stop having those spikes, man, you just have so much more energy.
Yeah, it's interesting because I just talked to a friend of mine who she just finished her very first Whole30 round. Yeah. Literally just finished it yesterday. And I said, how did it go? I've been talking to her, on and off throughout and giving her tips and tricks and all of that stuff. And she struggled from the get-go. Coffee was was her thing.
It was
coffee.
It wasn't the coffee.
Well, no, I know, but coffee was her thing in the morning, and she was like, coffee without sweetened, whatever it is, the sweetened milk product that she added to it. She's like, coffee without that is just awful. So she tried it for a couple of days and she just couldn't. She tried different options, and so she switched. She goes, I'm switching to tea. So she switched to tea for the whole month, for the whole 30 days. And I just talked to her and she said, now that I've gone back to coffee, it's not as good as I remember it. And that's because she remembers the sweetener. That's what her brain is remembering and really enjoyed. It was the dopamine hit and the jolt, the sugar rush from the sweetener and all of that stuff. The flavor of the coffee never changed.
Right.
It was just the added sweeteners that her body was really addicted to. Yeah. And so now she's not going to go back to coffee. She's going to stick with tea, I think.
That's every coffee place. I don't want to call out Starbucks in particular, but obviously they were the OG of like doing that. If I drink black coffee pretty much, maybe with some coconut in it now, and like we'll go to some place like Starbucks and it's like you get a cup of black coffee and I'm like, this coffee is shit. It tastes horrible.
can't say that.
Sorry.
I like Starbucks.
No, you don't like Starbucks.
I do.
You like Starbucks and all the stuff they put in it.
No, I do like a flat white with the coconut.
Okay, but
I do.
drink their coffee black. I'll give you.
I don't like any coffee black.
Okay, so especially Starbucks, but but even, and I'm not going to just call out Starbucks because actually I think there's a most chain coffee that it's black. Yeah. It's really designed to, as a
to meet the masses.
It's a delivery system. Of sugar and junk. You should.
I'll give you that.
So it's like. Okay, so like I'm like, I want some coffee, but it's like I'm not going there. Like I love going. I really like smaller coffee shops, ones that are also, especially if they're doing their own beans in house.
Yeah, local.
Like we have one just across the street from us, and their coffee is so good.
Yeah, it's really
expensive. The beans are expensive, but their coffee is.
It's amazing.
So good.
Yeah, it tastes
and
really
it's
good.
strong. It's like,
yeah, you don't need that much.
No. So, and it's interesting. One of the things that I want to mention about with Lisa with Whole30, which was when she started drinking the creamer again, like there's this thing, and it doesn't take very long, 30 days. And there's this reset that happens in your palate.
Yeah.
That actually makes, when you go back and you have something sweet afterwards, you're just like, whoa, that is so sweet.
It's super.
But what's even more interesting is like the flavors of other things, foods, like
really are enhanced.
Yeah, it's like you start to like, man, that tastes so good.
Yeah,
like it's like instead of a bowl of ice cream, after a while, I'm like, dried mango is really good. At first, you're like, man, this is like eating your shoe,
right?
It's just it's like eating leather. It's like, but then after a while, you're like, actually, this has a really nice flavor to it when you reset your palate.
Yeah, you really develop a liking for food and what each individual food item does taste like, and you can appreciate the flavor of food as opposed to appreciating the additives, the added sugars, the added salts, the other whatever it is.
Yeah, the sugar, salt, and fat that they add.
Yeah,
to
exactly,
stuff.
exactly.
So let's talk about next steps here. I mean, again, 30 days. You can do anything for 30 days. I mean,
yes.
You should be able to do this.
Yes, but you've got to be prepared. You've got to think. You got to. What is it? Work smarter, not harder.
Right.
So you've got to prep your household and your kitchen and your meal times. You've got to think about that a little bit ahead of time. And really, it's difficult to do as a solo. If your partner is not on board, it's going to be more challenging for sure. But I think that
they're going to be pissed off at you.
More than likely.
They're going to be like, where's the rest of the food?
It
Where's
can
the
be
good food?
It is doable that if you're whoever the primary cook is in the house could switch out a lot of meals, maybe not 100% with their spouse or their partner, but it can be done. Yeah. But it's easier done if you're a united front.
And probably the caveat there is also if you have children, if you have kids, they're gonna fight you on this one. But
maybe so. Maybe so.
I think you can get around it, but
I think your desire for vitality and to feel better, your body's going to start to crave vitality and to not have the aches and pains that it once did. And I think that will spur you on. Even if you do have littles at home, I think it definitely can be done. But first and foremost, you got to get your household, your pantry ready. So purging all of those things that you shouldn't be eating, salad dressings, pre-made salad dressings, just checking the labels for all the details within Whole30 that are, triggers or no-nos. Checking all that, getting rid of all that stuff.
There's a lot of things that people do that are really fascinating. I always feel like, the one I saw that was the most interesting was to take all of the things. If you don't want to go throw away a bunch of food,
sure.
I've seen people they'll put it in a tote and they'll put a lock on it.
Yeah.
And then they'll take the keys and they'll freeze them in a cup of water and put them in the fridge
in the
freeze
freezer.
them. So the keys for all of the junk food are frozen inside a block of ice.
Right.
And it's like, okay, really, is it really worth the effort? By the time you get to that point, you're probably past the craving. And honestly, you'll get past the cravings pretty quick. I mean, by end of week 2, you're starting to feel like the inflammation is gone.
Yes.
The headaches are gone. The ups and downs are gone.
Your
like,
energy is back.
Yeah. They call it dragon blood is on one of the programs we're using. It's like, man, you just feel like $1 million.
And your mental acuity is just,
the brain fog is gone.
Off the charts. Yeah.
Like, man, I feel like $1 million.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. But it takes, you're going to get
it takes
2 to 3
it takes
weeks.
some prep
End
work.
of the third week, you're going to be like, man.
And also, it's really important to have snack stuff available for you when you do have certain cravings or when you're going on an appointment or something. I had like little tins of nuts in the car.
Yeah.
Like almonds or cashews, or I'd have a thing of tuna already made, so we could eat that as a protein snack to get you through to the next meal. Or you're gonna want to go through the drive-through real quickly because
somebody's gonna show up at the office, or and you'll be walking by the kitchen and be like, what's that? What's in the pink? What's in the pink box?
Those cookies.
Wonder what's in the pink box.
Yeah, cookies and donuts.
We're both real estate agents, and we had a rep that would come by, a title rep that would come by, and this guy would come by every week, and he would have a box, the full box of the crumble cookies. Yeah. And he did it for about 3 weeks. And after a while, I'm like, I'm not going to open the door anymore.
Right.
Like, I finally told him, like, hey, thank you for stopping by. We do appreciate it. But like, stop bringing those things here. Those things are like crack. They can go away.
So I think the number one thing is prepping your house, prepping your kitchen, your pantry, filling it with easy to make items, and working smarter, not harder, like getting a whole chicken, roasting that. So then you can cook once and, have about 3 meals with that chicken. Yeah. And just having that.
And even if you want to, get a chicken at a rotisserie chicken at the market or at Costco or, yes. Is it completely clean? Who knows? But I mean, you're 98% there.
Some of the corners you have to cut to help yourself facilitate a successful 30 days is a short term. It's a short term fix. And I think it's really important. So you have that success. Also making burgers ahead of time, keeping those available so you can just bring those for lunch really quickly.
Yeah. And you can pre-cook a lot of stuff. I mean, like we even to this day, we'll put 4, we get them at Costco. They're the boneless, skinless chicken breasts.
Sure. Yeah.
And they actually have ones that are kind of already smushed a little.
Yeah, cut in half. They're thinner.
They're thinner. So then we'll season them. I just use
them or marinate them.
Yeah. I use some tahini or some, garlic salt and some pepper and put them in the freezer or put them in the air fryer and cook them, like 4 of them at a time.
Yep.
And then I just take them and put them in the fridge, and they're great just to cut up and put them on a salad or throw them and heat them up. We put them now we can put them on like a gluten-free hamburger bun or something like that.
But you can add it to a potato. You can make just chicken salad out of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sweet potatoes are another one that are allowed.
Yes, sweet potatoes are allowed. Added to chili is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. And there are now a ton of websites. The Whole30 books that have been published are great.
They're great.
They have a ton of recipes in them, but there's also a ton now of Whole30 recipes online.
Oh yeah, I used Google all the time.
Yeah.
During our first Whole30 round, especially if we were going out to dinner with like clients or friends or whatever. If I knew the restaurant ahead of time where we were going, I would Google search, let's say, I don't know, Carrabba's. It's a Italian restaurant. I would say Whole30 compliant meals at Carrabba's, and it would give me suggestions, and it was a lifesaver so many times.
Well, and that's also a good, even just even to this day, I still do this now. It's sort of stuck, which is if I'm going to a restaurant, I always try and look up their menu online
Always.
and figure out what things I can eat and what I shouldn't eat.
Sure.
Because a lot of times you get there and maybe you're you're at dinner, you're together, or maybe you're with clients or another, with friends, and you're talking and it's just like, oh, I should order this and this, these are the things I should order, but I'll just order the fettuccine Alfredo because I know it's good here.
I think mentally you have to prepare yourself. This is what I'm going to order. I'm all set. You're confident. You don't have to look at the menu and be done. Yeah, it's a great hack. It's a great hack.
Yeah.
Another hack, which is really one of the biggest things that we struggled with, I want to say, is cutting out the alcohol for the 30 days. That is a big struggle. I don't know if it's just our profession and all of the socials that we have to go to,
and the stress.
Parties and all of that stuff, and the stress. But I think that we discovered at home what we usually do in lieu of alcohol during a Whole30 round is we had discovered Spindrift, and they're sparkling waters.
Yeah.
That are Whole30 compliant. There's no added anything.
But they use like
them.
real fruit juice. They don't taste real. Like they taste really good. They don't taste like artificially weird.
Yeah, they don't.
Some other brands are kind of
so that really helped us while we're at home. So if we're out in a social environment, we discovered they were the drops that we would put under our tongue. What were those? Or we would put them in our drink or something.
Oh, yeah.
It was like was it an HTC or a CBD or something like that. It wasn't a full gummy or anything like that, but it was something that just it relaxed you so you could still have like a sparkling drink in your hand, a non-alcoholic drink, but you kind of got the social lubricant of just the anxiety release, a little buzz, but not the alcohol part of it. So those were acceptable, and that's another hack that
worked more for
through.
You than me because I cannot do any sort of THC or gummies or because I just go straight to the refrigerator. I literally want to I'll eat everything in sight. So it's a bad.
Well, another hack too is if you're going to say someone's house for dinner or a dinner party or an event, bring a Whole30 compliant meal like a bacon wrapped dates dish or something that that you can just munch on and be guaranteed that there is something there that you're feeling comfortable
and there's
eating.
no reason why you can't say to like, hey, if somebody invites you over for dinner, it's like, hey, I'd love to go over, but we can bring something, or like we're doing this Whole30 round, which is actually just a great way to have a conversation about Whole30 as well.
Sure.
But we're doing this Whole30 round and it's the next 30 days and these are the things I can and can't eat. I don't want to be, maybe that's just my nature. I never want to be that guy. It's just like, okay, what are you having,
Yeah,
so,
I would, you would probably do that. I probably would not do that. I would just eat what I would offer to bring a side or an appetizer or something, and then make it as a Whole30 appetizer or side dish and bring that knowing that I could that's the only thing that I could eat if they're eating something that's totally not available to me for those 30 days. I can really double up on those or just to have something to supplement and then be selective on what they're serving. If it's like, I don't know, Chinese food that has some vegetables in it, I would probably eat some of the meat, but more of the veggie or whatever. But
another thing we would do though too is eat before. Not a whole meal, but eat enough beforehand so that that
protein,
sort of like
protein rich.
Protein rich, something that's going to satiate you and make you feel full. But then you're not going to get there and be like, okay, screw it, I'm eating the egg rolls. Or
and then you cave and just
I'm eating
binge.
the baklava. That shouldn't.
That would be bad. That would be bad.
So, so I think prepping for, it's 30 days too. It's not like, and you can even tell people like, hey, I'm doing this right now, but afterwards I'll be off the hook.
Yeah.
So.
But another thing that they say too within Whole30, some of the suggestions or guidelines they give you is don't go into the 30 days on how can I replicate or replace an item that is not allowed, but how do I dupe it so I can still have that For example, like ice cream. Ice cream's not allowed for several reasons: the dairy, the sugar, etc., the process of it. And there are sites out there and recipes out there to make a Whole30 compliant ice cream, but what they're saying is don't substitute for things that are not allowed on the diet, not the diet, that are not allowed on the program, but just do without those.
Yeah.
Because for the ice cream example, like for example, you could go and get a coconut milk based ice cream that some of them probably won't have sugar added to them, or honey they might have added to them, or whatever. But you're still feeding that dragon that you're trying to overcome. So, for example,
even just using like
sugar dragon, a fake sweetener or something like that.
Yeah,
you're still psychologically, your brain is still thinking, I'm eating ice cream.
Right.
I'm getting that hit off of that sweetener.
Right.
Whether it's, compliant dairy product or not, or a compliant sweetener or not, it's still a sweetener that is triggering that section in your brain to continually craving it. And that's what you want to eliminate, are the cravings.
There have been studies that they've shown that you can still get a glycemic bump, even on sweeteners. It's just your brain is reacting to it. So you still get the insulin, you still get all the same effects. Yes, it doesn't have the calories of sugar, but it has the same effect. And it'll still spike your insulin. It'll still make your body think, not to the same degree as actual sugar, but there is some of that as well. So it's like, can you just not do it for 30 days? And I would say, yes, you should be able to not do that for 30 days.
And truly eliminate whatever that craving is.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the 30 days, ideally, they say that you can start reintroducing these items that you have eliminated for the past 30 days. You do it sequentially. You do it every, for 3 days. You don't do them all at one time, et cetera, et cetera. There's a well-written, Melissa Urban, who's the author and co-founder, in her books and online, they give you a whole reintroduction process to go through. But once we started the Whole30, by the end of it, we were kind of like, wow, we feel so good. Why would we want to reintroduce the things that we know we're going to get triggered again?
I think we're old enough now. I mean, I feel like maybe, in the past, it's like, okay, 30 years ago, I probably would have just gone back to eating like I had before,
Yeah.
And this time I was like, okay, I know sugar has a negative effect. I know gluten has a negative effect. I know grains have a negative effect on me. I know dairy has a negative effect, although we haven't since added back in yogurt.
But
Greek yogurt.
Yeah, Greek yogurt, which
just plain
doesn't...
Greek yogurt.
Yeah, but I think of the processing of that is different. The
yes.
fermenting of that is different than regular dairy yogurt, and it's not as upsetting to our stomachs.
No, but it's like I knew all these things that we had taken out, and we felt so good at the end of 30 days. And we had lost, I think I lost 10 pounds. I think you lost 6 pounds. And so, and this is this is a point where I think Whole30 is interesting, because even the authors are kind of like, just do it for 30 days. And we just
They actually aren't real big proponents about
using it for weight loss,
using it for long term.
Right.
They want you to be able to have more balance, to be able to have and enjoy, and your body can process better the things that it originally eliminated during the 30, but in smaller amounts. It's just an eye opener to listen to your body and how it reacts to these things. So if you reintroduce something and you're feeling pretty good about it, and you're not having the reaction that you thought you were going to have, any inflammation or allergic reaction or anything like that, then by all means reintroduce it back in. But for us, we just knew at the time that we really didn't miss any of the things. Well, I never felt deprived during the Whole30.
No.
Never felt deprived, like we were missing out on anything.
Right.
We had so much variety, and we were eating a lot and very comfortable, and still yet losing weight and feeling phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we were just like, let's just keep on going.
Yeah.
And so we did.
Yeah. And so I think we just kept doing it, and we kept going. And, a year later, I had lost 65 pounds. You'd lost 35 pounds.
Yeah.
And, so it became more of a way of eating for us than just
lifestyle.
a diet. And so that's why we both keep trying really hard not to say the D word.
The D word.
I really don't consider it a diet.
No.
It was just, and just a way of eating now for us.
Yeah, because we know that we feel our best.
Yeah, and we're not perfect.
No.
Those Danishes with
those little cherry Danishes get you
God,
every time.
Those some bitches. I cannot do it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm usually pretty good. The first couple of days I held out.
Yeah.
And then it was like the worst one's on the cruise and they bring it right to your table. Like, well, cherry Danish. It's like,
back away,
get away from me. Yes. But I never, I don't want to hurt their feelings. So
I know.
I'm just like, fine.
You're so caring.
Give me 3.
Right.
So yeah, I would say, if you have questions about it, there's a ton of resources. There's
ton of resources.
The books, we got ours at the library, but I mean, you can get the Whole30 book. And
we'll include the links below, and there's lots of different, cookbooks, and Google's your friend. And just if you want to try something new, get a jump start on your health and your vitality, start it. Start tomorrow.
And I love that we've now had multiple friends who a lot of people go, what did you do? It's like, well, we got our hormones straight and then we did Whole30 and they're like, oh,
what's that?
Okay. Or they're just like, that's nice. That's good for you.
Yeah, that's good for you.
But we've now had multiple friends as well who have done those 2 things.
Yeah.
And they
life-changing.
So they've really done great for them. So of these, again, those pillars that we talked about, this was sort of nutrition, and I think we're gonna have several other episodes we're gonna just dedicate to understanding how that works, and the other pillars, and talking more about moving, more about sleep, we're gonna do some more things with nutrition technology, how you can do that. So that's all coming up here in the next few episodes.
And if you're looking for something to do right now, jump into Whole30. It's no gym required, and we're here to help. Yeah. So, we're excited for you.
Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate you. If you enjoyed the show, hit the like button, write us a review, say hi. We love that.
Yeah, and share with us your Whole30 journey.
Yeah.
Your wins and your obstacles, and maybe you can help somebody else as well. So, thanks for joining us.
Yep. Go live unconventional lives.
Bye-bye. The views and opinions shared on this podcast are our own and reflect our personal experiences and beliefs. We encourage listeners to take what resonates with them and to seek professional advice where needed, especially in matters related to health, fitness, relationships, and parenting. Our conversations are candid, unfiltered, and intended to inspire, but they may not be suitable for all audiences. Always remember, what works for us may not work for everyone, and your journey is uniquely your own.